Welcome to the Love Your Real Life podcast. I'm Faith Lauterbach, and this is a space to help you heal, rebuild, and create a life you truly love, even if it looks different than you imagined. Each week, I'll be sharing tools, encouragement, and real conversations about what it means to move forward after betrayal, heartbreak, or simply life not going as planned. I am honored to walk alongside you and help you love your real life. Well, hello and welcome back to the show. We are getting ready to close out another month. And so this is my second month doing this series called What I'm Noticing Now. So this is going to be season 2, episode 27, and we're going to close out April in a very intentional and compassionate way, and one that's going to set us up for a great new month. So before we move into that new month, I have found how important it is to take a few minutes to pause. Today is going to be a space just to look back, notice what's been working, what's been supportive, and what I've been learning, and also what's felt a little hard. I love when other podcasts do episodes like this, and I've gotten so many great ideas. And I just feel really connected to that person sharing it. So I wanted to bring that here and just have that opportunity to share and to invite you also to do the same. So this is going to be a little more conversational episode here. All right. So I'm going to talk about first what stood out this month. April felt really full in a really good way. Inside my membership, we focused on holistic finances, and that was really such a powerful theme. It's so interesting to me how emotional finances and money can be. And it's one of those things that's a high rate of conflict in marriages and relationships where people share money, and it's just so important, I think, to dive into the layers beneath that. And so we really did that in April in my membership. So if finances are something that you've been thinking about, this could be a great opportunity because last week, so that would be season 2, episode 26, I interviewed a financial coach, and we really talked about that emotional side of money and some really great takeaways on what to do right now, wherever you are in your financial journey. Take a listen to that if that's something that interests you. And another thing I did that was really fun in April was I was invited to do a presentation for an organization called Echo Collective, which I just really love that organization. I've talked about it before on my podcast. If you haven't heard of it, I definitely encourage you to check it out. But I did a presentation on boundaries. And that was really fun to do. And I think that's another topic, those how to set boundaries, what they are, and the ways to kind of go into, figuring out if you need help with boundaries. Like we covered kind of all of those things in this presentation. And it just was such a great and fun project to do and to present. So when I think about this last month, and I think about what has been supporting me, there's a few things that really stick out. I started using Asana, which is a project management software or an app. And that has made such a big difference to help organize my work, my ideas, and everything that I have going on in a way that feels much less overwhelming. And it's one of those things where you can assign to other people. And so I've been using it also for like our home management. So like we have just like a project in there that is all about our home. And it's been great because it's things like, okay, changing the furnace filter. Like who remembers to do that? Most people probably don't. If you're like us, you might not remember for a whole year. And so this is a great way, what I found, to be able to give priority to that kind of stuff. And then you can assign it. So it sends you a reminder within that, even like we linked like the furnace filter that we get. And so everything is right there. You can have links in there so that it's just been a great way to organize so many things, and it's free. There's definitely a paid version, but I've been using the free version, and that has been perfect for me. I also, um, another thing that I feel like has helped me a lot is I started using the app ClassPass, and I've used it in the past, and I just kind of decided to restart it and try it out again, and it's been really fun because I've been able to, if you don't know ClassPass, you're able to, kind of pop into any gym that is participating, and use your credits. You get a certain amount of credits each month, and you can use them at any gym across the US. I don't know, maybe it's in other countries as well, but I know it's all over the US. So I've been doing some different classes, like a spinning class or a Pilates class, and, you don't have to have a membership to that gym, you just have these credits that you can use through this app. So I will link that also in the show notes because I think I have some kind of referral link that gives you some extra credits if you use that. So I'll put that in there in case that's something that sounds fun to you, you wanna check it out more. It's really been helpful because to me, it's fun to be able to just take spinning class here and, kind of give a good outlet for different types of classes that you wanna try out. I've been loving that. Another thing that I love to do is to read, and I've definitely gone through different periods in my life where I've gotten into slumps on reading, and I know how special reading is to me and how important it is in my life. So I wanted to share a little bit about a couple of the books that I did read in April. And so the first book that I'll talk about is a book called Happy Wife. And it's actually, I used the Libby app for a lot of my books. And if you don't know about that, it is a free app that's connected to your library card. And so you can check out either digital books or audiobooks through that, and they can be, the digital books, like, I just put it onto my Kindle, and so I was kind of scrolling through Libby, trying to find a good book to download, and I found this book, the Read with Jenna book club. It was one of her picks, and it just kind of highlighted on this app, and it's called Happy Wife, and, to tell you a little bit is it's listed as a thriller, suspense, and kind of the general plot is that a character in there named Nora ends up marrying this prominent lawyer, but after a party, he vanishes. And she's navigating kind of the secrets of this community to really find him and to clear her name. And it was definitely a page turner. And I really enjoyed it. I read it pretty quickly. And so that was a great book. The other book, fiction book that I read is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. And this is, if you have read her books, she has kind of a style, like romance novel, but she really does a great job of bringing so much depth to her characters. And so this one is about a character named Samantha. She's a social media marketer, meets Xavier, who's a veterinarian, and they have this one incredible date before she moves across the country to care for her mom who has dementia. Um, they try to forget about each other, but guess what? They cannot. And so this was such a fun book to read. I really just looked forward to when it was time to read and probably stayed up a little bit too late a few nights reading it. But I also really loved that book so much. The third book that I read in April is nonfiction. And that was the book, What No One Tells You About Money. And that's by Jade Warshaw. So in my membership each month, we have a recommended that's optional book read, something that connects and reflects with our theme of the month. So since the theme was holistic finances, this book is the one that I recommended. And so, to tell you just a little bit about this book, in case you're interested in this, she really focuses on the emotional and behavioral side of personal finances. talking about the real reason that people get stuck when it comes to money isn't a lack of knowledge, but the feelings like shame, fear, and guilt that drive their decisions. So she draws from her own personal experience where she paid off over $460,000 in debt. And she provides practical step-by-step guide to help, identify your own emotional triggers, the reader's emotional triggers, break old cycles, and really build resilience to, stick to a financial plan. Um, this book has, actionable exercises to help you move from knowing what to do to actually doing it. So I thought this book was really great in helping with something that we all have to deal with, money. So, anyways, this book, what my kind of plan is to every month read a book that is more kind of educational, learning, and typically that'll match up with what we're doing in the membership. But what I've been doing with that one is not reading it like I would read my fiction books, which that's usually right before bed, but I've been reading it as a like kind of a moment during the day where I'm like actually have a notebook and I'm taking notes as I'm reading. So I'm using that more as educational. So that has been really cool because it's less about kind of escape, but more about learning. And if you have been with me through the holistic goal planning, learning and education is part of our holistic health and life. And so this is one way that I'm supporting that by taking time to intentionally learn about topics that are interesting to me. So, what I've been watching, um, I think that it can be really fun to have shows that you're watching. Back in the 90s, if you grew up in that time like I did, there was you had your shows and they were on specific nights and you could only watch them on those nights and you had to be home to do that. And I can remember like Beverly Hills 90210, that was my show. And I don't remember what day it was on now. But I know I was home at that day on that time so I could watch this show. And it was really special. It was a special way. It was intentional. It was like you couldn't just stream shows endlessly. So we have in our household with me and my husband have kind of brought that 90s vibe back. And we have some shows and we name like this is the night that we're watching that show. So we only watch certain shows on certain nights. Again, it brings back if we think about what makes like what do I want to be doing? And I want to be living intentionally. I want to be living in the present. And this has been a way that has helped me do that. And it also makes what I'm doing more important because there's intention behind it. There is something about that that makes it feel even more special. So we finished up Shrinking, which has been on the Apple TV, and that so we finished up the season, and that it was our Wednesday night show. And, so we replaced that. So we canceled Apple TV for right now, and we have been hearing so much about The Pit. My husband and I both being in the medical field and long history with all of that, we have heard a lot about it, and so we replaced that. So we canceled Apple TV, started getting HBO Max, and are watching The Pit, and so that is now our Wednesday show. Um, we are still watching Homeland, which is very intense, and we watch that on Tuesday nights. So, those are kind of our 2 shows that we're watching right now, and again, we give ourselves a rule that we cannot watch more than 2. Sometimes we just watch 1, depending on the time and all that, but again, we're not watching it every night or staying up so late or streaming lots of, shows. It really just makes it feel more intentional and honestly more enjoyable as well. Another thing that I really want to focus on, and again, it's looking in that holistic health and life, is doing hobbies, taking time to do creative things. because I think we spend a lot of time consuming, right? There's a lot of consumption that happens in our lives from social media to, you know, email to even books and shows and there's a lot of consuming, and I'm trying to balance that out with also creating. And I'm lucky that in my job, my business, I create a lot. I do a lot of content creation. I create yoga classes. I create things for my membership. I do a lot of creating, but I also want to do something with my hands. And so I have done different things where I have a craft that I do each month, but something that feels really simple right now, and I actually got this idea from another podcast, is a hobby of doing puzzle and listening to an audiobook or listening to a podcast or just a playlist. I'm not new to doing jigsaw puzzles, but it is something that I have a little station set up, and I am putting priority on that. And so I have a puzzle going at all times. And so that's been really fun. And it's fun because when people come over, like it's just like a magnet. People go over and they're like trying to find some pieces or do that. And I just kind of have it out. And that's been a really cool way to just bring some ways to be creative, like that's very simple and easy. This month has also had a lot of really meaningful moments. I really like to look and see what is life giving, what is energizing in my life. And I have um, three grandkids, and they're all two and under, and it's been so much fun. Like, it is literally such a joy. It is pure joy to spend time with them. And it can actually just make me kind of emotional thinking about how much I just love them. Ugh, they're just so cute and sweet. And um, the two that are talking call me Go Go. And I love being a Go Go. So spending as much time as I can with my grandkids is a priority. And I got to do that a lot this last month. Time with friends. I have a couple different groups of friends that we do, kind of like I have a supper club group and we get together once a month. It's such a special group. It's so much more than about the meals, but the relationships that we have made in this group. And we have such special times together. We actually got together twice this month, which was really fun. And I have another group of friends that is my backpacking group that if you haven't listened yet, we did an interview together that was really, really fun. Okay, so that was season 2, episode 23, and that's backpacking, healing, and real conversations. So if you haven't listened to that one, that's a great episode where I interviewed my the group of women I go backpacking with. But anyways, we were able to get together and do a hike, um, and did some travel this month for a family wedding. My husband and I celebrated an anniversary. So we had some just really connecting moments in life. When it comes to work, I taught a mix of in person and virtual yoga classes this month, which I always love. So every month, I teach 2 in person yoga classes, and one of them is a gentle flow with yen, and then the second one is a restorative yoga and sound bath, and I partner with another person that does the sound bath portion. Those are just such wonderful classes. I love creating them and I love teaching them and I love being in that space. Also, I teach Monday mornings and Friday mornings, I teach yoga online, so a virtual option. And those are short, kind of grounding, energizing for your morning. So I did those every Monday and Friday morning. That is something that if you are in my membership or if you're a client, you have access to those, but you can also just purchase them if you're not in the membership. It was also the first full month of using an app in my membership. So I have a new app and platform that I use, and it has been such a great decision. It's simplifies so many things for everybody that is a member and myself. Um, and it's been such a great and beneficial thing. I'm so glad that I made that decision, and also that again, anytime you switch and you're doing a new thing, it takes work to do that. And I'm just really glad that I decided that putting in that extra work at the beginning was worth it because it definitely was. So it's just created a more connected and supportive experience for everyone involved. So yay, that's been awesome. You know, when I look back on April, what I notice most is that finding support really matters, whether that's systems and routines as part of that support, boundaries, small things really add up. This is something I teach a lot in my coaching and I teach in my membership is that small, consistent change is so important. And it is the way to build and create a life that you love. Finding those small, consistent actions that support the life that you want to live. It all adds up. And it's not about doing everything perfectly. It's about noticing what's helping and inviting in more of that. So, as we move into this next month, there's nothing like big I'm trying to change. I'm just focusing more on creating more of those moments, creating more of that supportive environment, continuing what's working, and really being intentional about how I want to feel. That is one thing that I really teach and with clients and with my membership is start with how do you want to feel and then creating intentional actions to support that. What's so helpful about that method is that it releases shoulds. When you focus first on how do I want to feel and then build from that, we're bypassing what should it look like? How should I be doing it? What are the things that this person thinks I should do or this person or society or whatever. It starts in the core. It starts inside of you. How do I want to feel? And then building intentional action from that. So before you move into a new month, I want to invite you to do the same. Take a few minutes to ask yourself, what am I noticing right now? What's been supporting me? What felt really good this month? This isn't about fixing everything. It's about noticing and creating more of what's energizing and releasing and letting go, delegating the things that are draining. And if you're wanting a little more support as you move into May, I have a couple of options to invite you into. I'd love to invite you into my membership. Right now, I'm offering a 7-day free trial. So you can come in and explore it and see if it feels good, see if it feels like a good fit for you. Each month inside the membership, we do a lot of different things. There's a lot of different supportive ways. We have a different focus each month on holistic health. For May, we're going to be focusing on creating supportive morning routines, not rigid routines, not overwhelming checklists, but things that actually support you. Because I will tell you, everybody has a morning routine. It's just deciding if it's supporting what you want to be doing or if it's not. And so we'll be talking about simple ways to build that, to support yourself. The other thing I want to invite you into is something that I offer in every single month called the Real Life Monthly Reset. This is a 1-hour workshop where we reflect without judgment on the previous month, and then we intentionally plan for the month ahead so that you can show up in your life and in all the areas that matter to you the way you actually want to. This is a deeper, more guided version of kind of what we did today. And it's one of my favorite things for myself personally, for what I offer to clients and memberships and the general public can come to that when they buy a ticket to it. So if this sounds like something that you need, I would love to have you join us. You can find details in those show notes about how to do either one of those things, try out the membership, or just come and experience this real life reset. Again, check out the show notes if you are interested in any of those things. So, as we kind of close out today, I want to remind you that you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to overhaul your whole life. You just need to pause, to notice, because awareness is what creates change. It's really the first step in anything that we do is bringing awareness to it. And then from there, how do I want to feel? What are some small intentional actions that I can do to create that feeling in my life? And that is how you start to truly love your real life. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that this episode, while it's a little different from my normal episodes, I hope that this brought you some actionable ways to bring more of what you want into your life and to let go of what you don't. All right. I'd love to hear from you. Reach out. Come join me in this real life monthly reset or in the membership. And I hope to talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the Love Your Real Life podcast. I hope that today's episode was just what you needed. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're looking for more support, check out the show notes for how to connect. Remember, no matter what your story holds, you are worthy of living a life that you love. Talk to you soon.